Good morning. What's up, folks? How's everybody doing this morning? Get my screen sharing going in Discord here. Happy Thursday. Hope everybody's been enjoying the FOMC ride. Well, really kind of just the overall bull run we've been in, and that really kind of, I think, picked up and took things to another level yesterday. So let's get this going live. There you go. Now my friends in our Discord should be able to see my screen. Let me just check our YouTube feed, make sure that looks like it's up and running. It says excellent connection. That's a good sign, right? All right, very good. So, say good morning to everybody. What's up, Srinivas? Teak, what's up? Make a dollar holler. I like that name. All or nothing. What's up, buddy? What's up, Navy Plum? Always good to see you here. My OG right hand peeps. All right, let me get my coffee in here. Let's talk about the markets, what we're looking at, what's going on, and what we need to be prepared for or looking for as we continue to play this upward momentum that, again, really kind of picked up with the Fed pretty much flat out saying, at least as close as they can to making a definitive statement, which they can only get but so definitive, that we've reached peak rates for this cycle. So unless something crazy happens, essentially is what they're saying. They don't anticipate a need to hike rates any further. No real clear indications as to when rate cuts might be coming, so a lot of that's conjecture. And one thing I would say we should all still kind of continue to be mindful of is as we get to some of these future FOMC meetings, getting close to that projected rate cut period. I mean, I feel like the general consensus, if I was going to split it down the middle, is somewhere in the May-June timeframe, mid next year, is what folks are expecting. If we don't start getting cuts by then, a no hike, no cut could wind up being a bearish scenario. If things don't kind of start to pan out as the market has priced them in at this point. So just kind of be aware of that. That's still a long way off, obviously. From a charts technical standpoint, we cleared over this 47.59 weekly resistance level, cleared over, held it, and have pushed higher. So that looks like a key level to hold. We've cleared out these supply zones that were overhead. I'm sure I have some demand zones I need to add. I haven't done that quite yet. So don't blame me if you don't see them at this moment, but I will set some up on my chart and we'll have them shared before we do our next live stream. But we do have a supply zone overhead here. Also have a couple of resistances that kind of are also right in that same area where that supply zone is. That's not terribly uncommon, at least what I find when I'm doing my charts and how I draw things. But so we could see a stretch up to this 48.10 level here on ES. That would not surprise me. And things kind of, I don't think really, I think we've got room. I don't think it's going to necessarily be a direct shot up, but I think we probably get up to this next supply zone. I don't think this is going to present too many challenges. Could certainly be wrong about that, but I'd be looking more at this 48.40 plus area. It's kind of the next key area of resistance. We do have one level up here around 49.18, and then we have, it's not really a supply or demand zone, but just kind of an area where I could certainly see the price getting caught up or having trouble clearing over this 49.42 level as we go to test it the first one through. But if we get over all this, I would also expect 49.67 to hold moving forward, kind of at the top of that range. Also a key level there. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm looking at on ES. Again, I don't see anything that gives me any reason to say I think it's it's time to load up a bunch of hedges or puts or anything like that. And I think trying to call that top or trying to find that perfect spot to do that is going to be challenging. I think really what we should focus on is finding some trends that we can focus on, and let's just maybe go ahead and do that. Actually, I think we've kind of broken out of on both sides of this channel that we were sort of holding there for a little while. So, I mean, just at a glance, whoops. this kind of sticks out to me from an ES standpoint. Let's see if I can catch this just right. It could be, yeah, could actually be based off this candle. Is we don't have, so actually that does fit the bill. A little bit of a bleed below, but overall candle closed above, and then we did get a nice clean test there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 really actually off that trend line. So, you know, I'd say be very cautious getting short or rushing into hedges until that trend line breaks. Then it probably makes sense to start hedging. But I think trying to call a top to hedge at and kind of anticipate the pullback is probably not the way to go about it. I even had a member reach out to me yesterday, and this is the thing, you know, I hate to see somebody put into a you know, a message to me, but you know, it was essentially to the effect of, well, it seems like we were overbought and I felt like we were due for a pullback. It's like, okay, seems overbought, felt like these are all things that don't necessarily indicate time to get into puts. The market can be overbought and stay overbought. And then things that seem some way or feel or you think something's due. You know, the example I gave that person last night was, it's like going to the roulette table and watching it hit black 10 times in a row and then assuming that that means the odds are better, that you're going to hit red. Red is due to hit. That is 100% bias, right? You're just sort of interjecting your own belief system into the market, and that's never going to work out well. At least anytime I've seen somebody try to trade that way, hasn't worked out well, and I'm sure in my early days I did that myself. So yeah, focus on the charts, wait for confirmation, let things play out. If you try to anticipate what the market's going to do before it shows you what it wants to do, you're probably setting yourself up for an average down to try to save a trade, or a loss kind of being the more likely scenario. So anyway, just wanted to talk through all that real quick. And again, I'd say keep your eyes on this trend line as things push up, especially, you know, I would focus on buying the dips, especially if we pull back anywhere near that and have any kind of confluence with either a key moving average or some indicator you like to watch, or a price level on the chart. You know, catch those confluence bounces and expect things to continue to push higher, at the very least until we break down below this trend line, and then, you know, we start looking at some downside targets to play toward, and then I would say ultimately buy the dip again. So anyway, market looks strong is the long story short on that. So let's talk about some charts and plans that we looked at on Tuesday, a couple days ago. AMD is one that I did for the member selected tickers over the weekend. This was our original entry level that we broke through there on Monday after I published the plan Sunday evening. Ran all the way up very close to PT2. Didn't quite get there, but ultimately did the following day. And this is when we did our sort of adjusted plan. If you weren't already in, this was the area to get in at. We talked about this specifically on the live stream. And again, kind of talking about this area, we were looking for 133.11 to hold with a stop loss average down at 131.87. Again, ultimately an overall buying area. Gosh, I don't like how that keeps doing that. Don't know why it's not remembering indicators. So anyway, we did get a test of our stop loss average down level overall. This is a buy range though. This is your key level to hold, and this is your stop loss average down for things to push higher. That's your buy range. So anywhere in that range is okay, but again, kind of if you want to be more methodical or specific on your levels, you know, again, we were looking for 133.11 to hold. It did clear over, did hold, never came back tested, but again, you could have potentially caught it off the stop loss average down if you're being real aggressive. But if you waited, that's fine too. Did break over, did back test. All those wicks got bought up and held. Candles closed back above our key level to hold. Launched from there to both price targets that I mentioned, and ultimately PT3 from our plan over the weekend, and then some. Right, so congrats if you caught this. Again, we outlined this right before the market opened. I hope somebody took the time to play it with me. But again, great setup, and we had two plans on this that we rolled out, both the one from member selected tickers over the weekend that started on Monday and has ultimately made a move from 130.39 all the way up to 139.89. So a $9 move. That's huge on options in 2 days. Or you could have caught this, 131 up to about that 139 all within the day. If you caught this setup that we discussed Tuesday morning. Sorry. So anyway, AMD seems like it's struggling to follow the market now a little bit. But that's okay. I'm not surprised things are consolidating somewhat. Certainly looks like if it can break over 139.27, it's going to make a push for this 141.30 level would be my guess. I'd also keep this recent rejection. There could be a level somewhere in here that I missed, which is 100% possible. So keep an eye on that high day there from Tuesday, but certainly over that, I would expect 141.30 to be in play. Upstart, this is another one. I talked about it Tuesday as we did some of our trade reviews. This is one that I said, when this one gets going, it's going to move hard. It's also got a fair amount of short interest, so I think we could be in the process of seeing a short squeeze on this one, especially now that we're up in this gap. We did see the break over, back test of the call entry that we outlined during or that I did in my member selected tickers Monday evening. Never came anywhere close to our stop loss average down. All Neptune indicators pointing to the upside here. And so what we've got is we've gotten it breaking over and now back testing our PT1. So move up from 40.12 up to 43.93 complete if you've followed and played this one. And again, I think I even discussed putting an alert on this line and making sure that you're ready for that entry or that you get notified when it's time. That's how I found out about this. That's how I got into this one yesterday as well. And so now we are back testing and holding this gap entry level. So certainly to me, I think we've got a gap fill probably somewhere in our near future. And in the process there, we probably see a short squeeze. So keep UPST on close watch. Certainly kind of the same scenario like we talked about with AMD yesterday. A hold of 43.93 certainly makes me bullish. Break over 45.09 definitely makes me even more bullish, which kind of looks to be about our pre-market high. Start testing this 47.47 at 51.40 targets. The only thing I'll say about this one is, again, be a little bit careful with it. It does have a wide bid-ask spread. I found that out yesterday getting into my position. But yeah, this one seems to be creating a nice base at this level. So you could look for a hold of 43.93, stop loss around 42.90. And try to run it from there, or wait for the confirmed break over 45.09, at which point I would use 43.93 as the stop loss, and then play for the two targets that we still have from the planned Sunday overhead there. So AMD and UPST crushing upstart, and then we did lift Tuesday during our live stream. This one did get the breakout confirmation, is held. Really kind of perfect bounce right there off the Neptune. Both confluence of those two indicators, bottom of the buy pressure on my trend ribbon, top of the buy pressure on the Neptune flag. So that's continuing to push things higher. We are over 1462, and now looks like we're just looking for a break over 1502 to get us to PT1 up there at 1533, which seems to be our resistance just above the pre-market high. So lift hasn't totally lifted off yet. Might still be an opportunity to get in, especially if we see a pullback down near 1462. Could look to go long there and try to play another back test of the call entry up to 1533 and just stick to the plan from there. 1414 is your stop. That's your first target, second target, so on and so forth. So again, this one should be in our chat area of the live stream here in Discord, if you need to go back and look at the chart to see the levels and all that stuff. Apple, why am I looking at Apple? Apple when did we do Apple? Why am I looking at this? I don't know, maybe I just left this up by accident. I was watching it yesterday a little bit. Oracle, this is one that we did Tuesday, and ultimately did get our breakdown below our put entry back test, very similar to what we saw with lift a moment ago. Perfect rejections of that trend ribbon, heaviest selling pressure on it, pushing things to the downside. So you got your break below, multiple back tests, never really threatened the stop loss once we got the confirmed break. Then started hitting, well, really kind of went down to PT1 and ping pong between PT1 and the put entry, but then ultimately flipped PT1 from support to resistance right here as the trend ribbon pushed things down. cleaner test right there for a big rejection down to PT2. And then ultimately yesterday, shortly after open, got PT3 plus to the downside. So congrats if you followed the Oracle trade plan from Tuesday. I think this was one of Chris's requests. So Chris, thanks for asking for Oracle. You seem to always find the ones that I come up with good plans for. So maybe we need to team up on this stuff more often. But yesterday with the market rallying, Oracle also made a strong comeback, ran all the way up to the stop loss, average down level, clean rejection off that. So still struggling to break over that, at least last I checked. Well, trying to flip it, it looks like, to support here. And finally got over all these SMAs, which was kind of the thing that was holding me back from wanting to go long on Oracle from here. This could make a nice recovery as long as we hold over 103.07, and I could certainly make a strong case for using 102.47 as your stop loss. Hold over 103.07. I'd be looking for 104.81. Let's see, and probably 105.84. Just this is very quick and at a glance, so maybe not the greatest targets I've ever set. And I think you could shoot for anywhere up in this 106.41 to 107.61 range, probably 107.04 being a good target. So make sure that you're jotting those levels down, putting them on your chart, creating alerts if you need to. Be ready to execute when the time comes. All right, so let's talk about some trade plans that we want to work on this morning. I see we've got one request from Teak for Baba already. Sure, we can take a look at that one for you. If you guys have any others, please feel free to drop those in the chat. If you are new to joining us for these live streams, you're not sure where the chat window is. It is a little word bubble icon, top right hand corner of your screen. If you're here in the morning live stream channel and all that you see is a bunch of tiles with people's avatars on them, top right hand corner, pop that open, and you will see the chat where we're talking and where you guys can drop your ticker requests for me to take a look at. Tesla or IWM for all or nothing? Sure thing. All right, so let's take a look at some new tickers. We've got some time before we need to wrap up our morning session. So hopefully we can get through at least a couple of these, maybe even 3. Let's find out. Baba, always an interesting one. Any of those Chinese tickers are always interesting because they, as you can see, even if you're looking at an extended hours chart, they love to make gaps. So swinging these overnight, high risk, high reward. I mean, cannot emphasize that enough. And really, yeah, high risk, but with high risk comes high reward if you wind up catching the correct move. All right, so let's take a look at this. Kind of give me an idea of where Baba, oh God. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't see a lot of levels, and I feel like I've charted Baba more than that. But that's because the vast majority of all my levels are way up here where Baba has spent most of its time. Are these all-time lows? Or close to? No, totally. Yeah, I was gonna say, can't be right. Got some levels down here, but man, not far off. I mean, I think the all-time low support, we've got some prints just below that, but looks to be sitting around this 58.32 level. So Baba looking rough. Okay, but that's all right. We can still, how about that? Nice bounce off that particular level back in October of last year. Don't know if I was looking at it at that time. All right. Yeah, oh, Chris, remind me, shoot me a DM or something like that. If you're still on here. Yeah, you are. I noticed on XHub, as I was doing mentoring with somebody recently, that we used to have a bunch of scanners that use some custom scripting and stuff like that for Thinkorswim. I can't find those anywhere. They used to be in a channel in the Discord. I think that channel doesn't exist anymore, and I didn't see we do have like a TOS scanners section on XHub, but we don't have anything there. I still have a lot of those, so I don't know what the best way would be for me to export those so we could get them uploaded again for folks to have access to again. But yeah, just shoot me a DM so I don't forget, just kind of as a reminder. I appreciate it. Because yeah, I'd like for us to have that stuff populated. If somebody goes there, they should see something. And yeah, I was talking with somebody doing some mentoring recently, and they were asking about thinkorswim scanners, and I was like, oh, they should be on XHub or blah blah blah, and I couldn't find them anywhere. So I do still have a good chunk of them. I think, I don't know if I have them all, but I have a good chunk of them still in my thinkorswim from forever ago, which I don't really use it anymore. But yeah, shoot me a DM. Let's get that stuff out there for folks, because there's like a good Golden Cross scanner, a couple other ones that I think people might like to have. So, all right, let's figure out how we're going to chart this. What's up, Turbo2? Good morning to you. Trying to figure out a plan for Baba since you're just joining us. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to find anything new on this weekly chart. I have part of the weekly levels down here. Baba hasn't spent much time down here. Daily chart, though, is another scenario. I think there's a level right here that I kind of jumped out at me right away. All right, let's see. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but that's okay, because I like a challenge. Let's check this guy. This is interesting to me. It's minimal. But I think if we check back in time on this, we'll probably see some more tests on this level, would be my bet. Let's see, get closer. The thing that it's missing for me is any real good resistance touches. Well, I guess there's a little bit of one right there. Ultimately, that does reject down to that point, and if we take it down to the wick of that candle, assuming that that's all one big rejection right there, there is actually a rejection there. All right, we'll leave that, call it a daily level. Where's Baba at right now? So need to get a good sense for that. Also, I want to make sure that we've identified, we might have, it's a little hard to see. Could be. That's iffy. I mean, technically it's catching those pretty cleanly, even though this looks like it's pushing out over. Let's take a look at this 4-hour chart. Maybe that'll clear it up a little bit. So that would need to come up to here. It doesn't really give us all the touches we need. Yeah, if that level, there is a trend there. It's not based off that rejection. Could be a little flatter though. Let's trace it backwards. Sometimes that's helpful. Yeah, probably something around there, by the looks of it. Fix this real quick. Switch that way. All right. We definitely have a level right here, hourly, but let me bounce this up a time frame real quick. I want to catch these on the highest time frame possible. So right there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go back that far, actually. So let's just focus on what we got. This is what makes things a little tricky sometimes, is if you don't have sort of the candle, the price action hasn't come through that particular range recently enough. You can only kind of see it on very high time frames. Kind of makes it hard to read those sort of intra-candle moves. which are fairly important in my opinion. This is another one. Let's see if we can check this. I didn't scope it out real quick. We can. Yeah, we'll get some. Yeah, well, there's confirmation on that level there. This one still looks a bit iffy. There's a minor support test there. Let's touch off that weekly level there. Whoops. I don't know if we'll be able to go back far enough. Yep, yes we can. Okay, cool. Let's see. Yeah, that is starting to shape up a little bit. I think there is a level there. Yep, there too. Okay. Just wanted to check. I think we got something right there too. Okay, so upside. Let's check. One more level here on the 4-hour chart, sorry. I should have marked what date we were looking at there a second ago. Yeah. That's all I needed to see. So I think for upside, what we're looking at here, well, a couple of ways to play this. Let's see what the smarter way is. Oh, we're struggling to break over that level here. It's on a slightly smaller time frame. Yeah, I keep coming back to liking an entry here over 72.03. First target up here, 72.95. Stop loss down here at the 71.36 level. Next price target. It's probably slightly lower. There is a gap to fill there, 74.06. But we could. Yeah, I'm going to leave it with this 4-hour level, anywhere within a reasonable range of the 74.22. Good second price target. There is kind of a part of two different gaps right here around 74.04. I wouldn't be totally ignoring that, because that would be a gap fill, so we may not stretch all the way to 74.22, but somewhere in that 74.04, 72.22 area. Second price target, and then over that, I think you're looking at 74.89. Third price target. All right. Downside, this is going to be the tricky one. Low a day, PM low from, what's this, Monday. Both touching the 70.13 level. Let's check this, see if this has any real merit. 15-minute chart is certainly not what I want to base my levels off of. We did confirm this. Yeah, nice rejection there. But we're also going to need to fill in some levels while we're in this range, because I have not charted BABA down this low. Man, it gets pretty wild looking at this 4-hour chart, at least down in this area. Yeah, these candles are just kind of all over the place. That's interesting, though. keep this on watch also. All right, let's go back a little further. We'll come back forward, change up our time frames, see if we can't pick up the levels within the levels here. But yeah, this is a interesting little scenario here for BABA, getting very near all-time lows. Even on the 52-week range, it's at about close to half of what the high was. I mean, not quite, a little bit better than that. But BABA looking bad. Come on. Where's my price action? There we go. All right. Let's check these levels out again. Yep. Confirm both of these guys. Boom and boom. Let's see if there's any others that we can now see. This is a very interesting consolidation of support there. And we do have a little rejection in there too, actually. So that's worth noting. Okay, let's take a look at this. So I think what I want to do for the downside here, take an entry below this support that it's found recently. Then the question becomes first price target. Do you want to check that real quick? Yeah, it's about where I was thinking. 68.79. PT1, PT2 could be down. What is this? November 10th of 22. Let's see if we can go back that far. So this level might be a little bit lower, actually. That looks about right to me. There. And PT3 is definitely sitting right here. So there's PTs 1, 2, 3. Boom. Let's actually, I'm just going to spread this out like this. So, and then, sorry, stop loss average down right here. So, long position we're looking at looks like this. And short position that we're looking at looks like this. All right, here is your BABA trade play. Oh, before I do that, how about that? Perfect. So, confluence, we're breaking a lot of confluences, getting through the selling pressure on Neptune at that exact level there at 72.03. That's what I like to see to kind of confirm that, again, that's a key level for us to break to open up this upside. So that's what I like to see. I like to plan without my indicators and then use those for confirmation and confluence, and then to execute and ride trades. BABA trade plan. Here we go. So what we're looking for, whoops, on BABA is a break over 72.03 to play targets at 72.95. Second target, again, 74.04, 74.22. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Shoot for the lower of the two, in my opinion, at 74.04. And then third price target to the upside at 74.89. The stop loss average down at 71.36. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 70.13 with targets at 68.79, 67.54, and 66.26 with a stop loss average down at 70.95. That is your BABA trade plan for Teak and for anybody else who wants to follow it. So go forth, get that green. Okay, Tesla or IWM for all or nothing. Let's take a look at both of them and see if there's one that looks like a better setup than the others. Of course, Teak, happy to help, brother. Welcome to the club. Thanks for joining us this morning. I think this is the first time I've seen you here. Not to say you haven't been here before. I can't keep up with everybody who's coming and going through once we get really kind of into the mix of things. So Tesla or IWM. Let's see. Tesla is at an interesting spot. Good morning, Patience. Thanks for joining us. Well, I think we're gonna have to be some pretty high time frames to figure this one out. Let's see. Sorry, looking at this. That makes more sense. Yeah, I mean, IWM is testing a breakout, so is Tesla, really. You know what? Let's go with IWM. I really like where this is at. If it can, if it can break over this 197.87 weekly level, I think that brings essentially 200 into play. Just double check. And from a higher time frame standpoint, I'd say that that's pretty much the move. Let's go back a bit here. Look at the specific level. What are we looking at right here? This is March of 22. Okay, let's check this out real quick. Sorry, Chris. Let's see if we can go back to March 22. We can. All right. Let's see. I'm sure I have some 4-hour levels here. IWM is one that I've only started charting recently. These indicators for a sec so I can focus on price action for just a minute. Interesting bounces and rejections all kind of happening in this neck of the woods. But I don't think that this is a factor for our trade plan ultimately. Whoops. Still very much looks to me like this is PT1. We can break out over 197.87. So we're right there testing it this as we go into the open today. I wonder if I've got this daily level just a little bit. It's a little bit low, actually. No. Yeah, I think it's pretty good where it was, actually. I'll leave that alone. But where is it? There's a level somewhere in here. It's gonna drive me nuts until I find it. It's like trying to remember the name of a movie that you know the name of, but you can't quite think of it. Also gonna want to have a good idea for a stop loss up here. I think it's sitting right about here. Yeah, right about there. Certainly wouldn't want to be back below that. Playing for upside, so then there's an interesting flip right there just above that we reject. I think I would still shoot for that weekly level, even though I think it's slightly less accurate. Although this weekly level might also be down here just a touch. Yeah. Yep. So I think that's going to be our third price target. I think our second one is sitting right here at this daily level at 202.05. So that's our upside trade plan squared away, good to go. I can probably take a quick look at PLTR. We might be able to do a trade plan for it. Let's see how much longer I need to finish up this IWM plan. This is going to be tough. This is a big move to the upside. I'm going to use my indicators a little bit to help here. This is an interesting, I mean, it's by far not a strong, highly confirmed level. I'm going to see if we can see any other. I guess the answer is probably no. It's not a smaller time frame. Oh, wait a second. No, we are going to get some help. Nice. Okay. Again, I don't track IWM that closely, so I just assumed it hadn't been in this range in quite some time, but that's not quite the case. I do like how that's stacking up, though. I think there is a level there. So I think what we'd be looking at, break below there. With a stop probably at 195.28, yeah. First target, I'd give it this weekly level. Whoops. Now this is an interesting push over and back test off a level here that, again, I don't have charted, at least not yet. Question is it actually a level? I don't think it is. But we've got something right in here that I am going to want to pay attention to. All right, let's see where that puts us. Yeah, so that gets us out a little bit earlier, which I'm okay with. Also gives us a confluence here on the hourly with kind of some key buying pressure. So I think, yeah, I think we should, just to be smart, this is a former third price target key level. I think we use that as our third price target for the downside now. So this is what our trade plans look like for IWM. Okay, and here we are kind of rejecting a little bit on that level right off of it exactly, so interesting. So here is your IWM trade plan. We're looking for a break over 197.87 with targets at 200.09, 202.05, and 203.73 with a stop loss average down at 196.54. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 194.11 with targets at 192.60, 191.77, and 190.75 with a stop loss average down at 195.28. To answer your question, patience, they certainly could wind up being day trade plans, but certainly they can wind up being swing trades. It's really kind of hard to tell. There's a number of factors that'll go into that, but certainly make sure that you're basing the strikes and expirations you are picking on how you intend to play the plan. And I would also say make sure that you're always buying more time than you think you're going to need. So with that, I do need to get to work on the daily SPY plan, so I'm going to cut you guys loose for the morning. We will be back next Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you get here right at the start so you don't miss anything. Again, every Tuesday and Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the Xtrades Discord and live on YouTube. So with that, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. Please come back and join us next week. And as we always say here on the FOMO live stream, plan your trades, trade your plans, go out there and have a great day. I will see you guys in the Discord. Talk to you soon. Take care. Hey, Glenn.